Welcome to the Heartbeat for Hire podcast. I'm your host, Lyndsay Dowd. My goal is to help train leaders and sales organizations how to manage and deliver results with empathy, compassion, and kindness. Let's get started. Greetings and welcome to this episode of Heartbeat for Hire. I am so excited to bring you our guest today. Rich Trigger Bontrager is all about making people shine on camera. And in case you haven't noticed, this podcast is on YouTube as well as all the audio channels, so you get to see him here first. He works with speakers, entrepreneurs, coaches, and business owners and teaches media skills, dynamic speaking, how to be engaging on virtual events, building confidence and your brand and image. Rich has been broadcasting for 30 years and is the CEO of Rock the Stage Media. He's the creator and host of How to Rock the Stage show, airing live each Wednesday night. He hosts the National Speakers Association NSA Podcaster Author Forums and the new NSA Live show, Behind the Stage. Entrepreneurs, executives, and speakers hire Rich to unleash their brand authority by learning media savvy skills that help them shine on camera and stage. I couldn't think of a better guest for today. Rich, welcome.
Lyndsay, great to be here with your audience on camera and on audio.
Yes. Well, we couldn't do this not on camera, not with a guest like you. So for our audience, would you do us the kindness of giving us a little bit of your background?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Broadcaster for over 30 years. I've been doing this since I was about 18 years old, and I have loved media all my life. And now I get the pleasure of not only being in the media, doing what I still love, but I get to help other people. Since COVID, especially, the media world's opened up to the rest of us, to people that have never, ever had training before. But now the business world especially needs to leverage media in a whole new way. And it's not as expensive as it used to be.
No, it's not. I mean, look at me. I'm doing a podcast and I didn't have any media training. So here we are. So based on that, I mean, let's just talk about that a little bit, because now, everybody's got a podcast. A lot of people are leveraging video. YouTube is huge. And the latest thing that I'm seeing a lot of, which is getting a whole lot of attention and traction, is people using video to even send email. So, I mean, now more than ever, it's everywhere. So you're coaching all kinds of people.
Yes. And we're a media-centric world now. Again, COVID accelerated things, probably a decade. Honestly, it did. So we were heading that direction anyways, but now the world got comfortable. We were forced to get on camera. We were forced to clean our bedrooms. We were forced to do different things. Right. But now you found out the power of, you could go around the world and stay home for dinner. There's no bad TSA experience anymore. There's no bad airline food, no bad hotels. Now the world is opened up. Now we know how to do this. Now we have to figure out how to do it professionally. Now we have to figure out how to leverage it. Now, how do you make money off of this? What does a show for our company mean? Is it a podcast, a video? Yeah. It opens up a whole new ton of questions, but the exposure is so powerful now. You really are your own media empire.
So you just hit on something, and I'd love to talk about that, because there's a lot of, my audience is mostly corporate people, and that's where I came from. So I know a lot of executives that are toying with the idea of having a podcast. How do you respond to companies that are concerned about this? Like, does this hurt me? What if they say something bad? Like, what do you say to that?
First of all, let's just talk as friends. If you don't have a podcast, what are you doing right now in the business world? Okay. That's kind of the gentle side of me. Podcast is the most powerful tool to every business out there right now. It does not matter if you're an auto mechanic or if you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. The podcast now has opened up the world to you personally. You can explain things. You can highlight your products and services. You can highlight your staff. You can take them behind closed doors in a way you never could before. And overall, you want to elevate yourself as a go-to expert. What a better way than to have your own radio show?
And how much, I mean, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of media training. I had a team that was like, you're going to do a podcast. And so I was like, oh God, I am. So I got a microphone, I got some decent lighting, and I just started booking guests and we started having conversations. So this is, interview format, but what are some of the other formats that are really trending now?
Well, again, you can do the monologue. You can do it where you do 10, 15 minutes, and those bite-sized shows are great. The micro content, as it's called, is perfect. You can share your wisdom and come back and do an ongoing series. I've done that with YouTube tips. YouTube has exploded, as you said. There's
Right.
new trips and inside things you can do with it. So I've done a series of those. There's so much you can do with it now. You can also go live. Lives are great because you can hit your audience right away, get the interaction, so you can have someone to talk to or field the chat questions.
Yeah.
But you now have your live studio audience. So you don't need to go into the studio and do this. You literally can do it from your office, your backyard, wherever you're at. You can create your audience for yourself. And that's just the beginning of what you can do by yourself, with a team, whatever you want to do.
So let's talk about, okay, let's say you're a novice, you want to jump in. What kind of equipment do you need?
It's so inexpensive. All right. The only thing you need is a phone. Let's make it as simple as that. Almost every phone has a camera. You have audio, so you can automatically do an audio. If you go through Anchor, one of the podcast platforms out there, Anchor's
I use
free.
Anchor. Yeah.
Okay, I use Anchor. Anchor's free, so you can do an audio and put it up. You don't even need an intro. You can just say, "Hi, I'm Rich Bontrager. I help people learn the virtual stage, and here's my podcast today." You can make it that simple. Now, if you want to, you can use your phone and shoot a video. Anchor will take both the audio and video and share them out there. If you want to, all right, get a laptop, get a ring light. Let's just talk bare bones. A ring light, a laptop. You can use the microphone on the laptop if you want, or get a simple lapel mic that picks up great audio. Or like you and I have leveled up a little bit here.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go that route. You can start this literally for free because you're already paying for your phone service. That's how easy and accessible it is. And it was believed that everyone had to do it like Hollywood. Actually, the opposite is true. The more authentic you are, the less glam and glitz you are.
Yeah.
People will fall more in love with you because they're getting the real you.
So let's talk about, you talk a lot about, and I do too, about the importance of building your brand. And podcasting is such a great way to reinforce that. But why do you think building your own brand is so important? And maybe you could skew it a little bit to like the corporate world, because this is something that I think they struggle with a little bit. They haven't had training or education why someone says it's important to do this. You're more than just your job.
I've been in the C-suite. I have worked with C-suite executives. Coming out of the media, moving into that was a shift. You're right. The mindset has been, I'm the CEO. We have the company. We have our products. We don't need to do that. The products will sell themselves.
Yeah.
The world now likes your products, but they want to know who you are, what you do, why you do it, what's your values. Really, they want to know more about the individual than even the product, because now it's who you are and what you know, and if they like you. That really sells the products. Now you have that open door to, again, go on camera, go on microphone, and reveal to the world your personal values.
Right.
Your hobbies, your love to do. Maybe the future of the company. You can vision cast and what's coming down the line. I mean, that's what Disney did. Walt Disney got a TV show and vision cast about the creation of Disney. The park that was not there, he kept telling you about the next park and the next park and the next. And you know what? They kept coming, Lyndsay.
Yeah.
Because every Sunday night they got another example of what was coming down the line. You can be the next Walt Disney with your own company. That's really how simple this is.
Yeah, I think that's really important. So you have a live show. Talk a little bit about that.
How to Rock the Stage has been going for over 3 years now. It is a video-driven show. And I've had guests for 3 years, from movie directors to writers, producers, to authors, but it's centralized around the idea of learning these media skills, learning how to be on camera so people will know you, like you, but more importantly, there is an etiquette. There is a performance to this. And the more you learn these skills to really own the stage, this is a stage. So I talk about the virtual stage, the hybrid stage, the impersonal stage. But when I teach the stage, there's slight difference for every one of those stages. But now that we're on the virtual stage, you need to learn how to show up here, and it is different. Like if I put my hands off to the side and talk to you like in the big mega stage, when you're live in person, you want to be the big theater and you want to show the body language. No one cares what I'm doing out here. So you have to teach a different way of communicating inside the box, and you have to start thinking now. as a TV producer, director, creator, what do you do inside the box different than the big stage?
Oh,
And there is a different skill set.
you hit on so many things I want to talk about. So, right now, you and I are in this virtual world, and I'm very comfortable here, and I've been doing it for a while, and obviously you have too. But for leaders that are that have to inspire their teams and connect with their teams, what tips do you have for them? Because this virtual world, with COVID, really changed the way that we create connection. We can only do so many happy hours, and we can only do so many things. Like, what are your tips for leaders and how to connect with their teams?
The number one is do not do long boardroom meetings ever again in your life.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. No one wanted to do a 2-hour meeting to begin with when you were live in purpose. Let's just admit that, all right? We never liked them. And they were usually boring and bland. What I coach now is do your boardroom meetings like an episode of TV. You do one segment on Monday, you come back with Tuesday or on Wednesday for part 2, and Friday you may have the third piece.
Yeah.
But you always leave them with a cliffhanger. You always leave them with a homework assignment, or Fred's going to come back on Wednesday and Fred's going to share X, Y, Z, but you don't do it all one dump. And you intentionally make it where it's engaging now. You can pull out the whiteboard digitally and someone can share. You can share a video clip. You can make it that you literally beam in the home office from Japan and say, right now, what's going on in Japan? That used to be a pain because you always had the little speaker phones and you'd always clip over each other. Remember those when you were talking speaker phone in the room? No one ever heard each other. Now you can be on screen in person and make it much more engaging and make it shorter. The other thing a CEO can do, which I highly encourage, is literally feature one of your staff in a micro interview. What a better way to bring life to your staff is to say, hey, here's Susie. Susie works in the administration. You may have never met her, but Susie, tell us what you really do for us and how you make an impact with our people. Susie's going to light up.
I love that.
And she's going to tell you the magic she gets to do.
I talk about that so much, Rich. I talk about using recognition as a power tool. And when you leverage recognition, whether it's your own team or it's teams that are connected to you and supporting your team, it is so smart of a leader to recognize them freely and frequently. And what that does is it creates some friendly competition because everybody wants their name to be mentioned. So people will try and do things they haven't done before. And I love when you do that. You're a generous leader. So I love that you brought that up.
Well, and now you can take it not just from the CEO, not just from the founder. Okay, you have a team.
Yeah.
Your team lead gets to do it for their micro team. And you can do birthday, you can do anniversaries, you can say, hey, job well done, employee of the month. You can do all these things. The top level needs to lead it and demonstrate it. I actually worked with a client. They were in insurance. During the pandemic, they were suffering because consumer confidence was dropping. The team did not know how to be on camera. So they called me and said, can you help me? One particular guy refused to turn on the camera, refused to dress. He admitted afterwards, I was in my basement with my dog eating Cheetos, taking business calls that I used to do in public and shake their hands. And I would not do it on camera. After we did the coaching, he said, I'm buying the backdrop. I'm putting on my suit again. I have the company logo. He said, you're absolutely right. I've done my company no good by not showing up professionally. I thought this was lesser than. I'm now understanding this is more than if I show up properly. It was a game changer for the company. Also, the CEO already built a studio. He told me offline, I should have doubled the size of the studio, Rich. I didn't think big enough because even I didn't believe it.
I had a woman that reported to me and she hated video. And especially during the pandemic, I really relied on video. It was very important to me that my team sees me and sees me making eye contact with them and commenting on things that are going on. And they're like, what are you wearing? I love that. Talk about it. Whatever it is to get that engagement. She refused to get on camera and she started interviewing for a company and this company panned her because she wouldn't get on camera. And I think she learned a really tough lesson that day of how important it is. People want to see your sincerity. They want to see, how you're going to show up to a client. And I was so frustrated with her for so long. And she got the message. She's like, now I know why you were yelling at me all the time to fix it.
So let's take the next step further, because now we're talking about brand authority. You're talking about showing up on camera. So I tell people, This space behind me is your free billboard. You drive down the highway and you see billboards. They pay thousands of dollars for those. And you all glance, you all crack a joke, you drive by, sometimes you pull in the car lot because of a billboard. You have dinner because of a billboard. What are we doing here? This is your free marketing billboard. On every Zoom call and every Google call, you should have a logo. If you're an author, you should have a book. If you're a car dealer, have your favorite car model right behind you. Have the workshop shown in the back window where the guys are working. This is the greatest portal to show you as an expert in your arena. And again, it's basically free marketing. And you know how many people are not doing that? They're just leaving it to whatever chaos is going around.
It's so true. And so your virtual background looks really good, but I see lots of people with virtual backgrounds and their hands disappear or their hair disappears or it just doesn't work so well. So what advice do you give for the people that are using the bad virtual?
I have a whole coaching system for that. But no, there are tips and tricks between the lighting. It's theater lighting now.
Yeah.
Yes, you can start with that O-ring on the circle ring and it will fill your face.
Sure.
But if you want to get into where you don't have flyaway hands, women, they have the matted hair. Every time they move, it squeezes their head, right? I can teach you how to not have that happen. It really works. And it's Hollywood magic. This is where my 30 years of broadcasting and being on camera comes alive. I can help you pop off the screen. And when they look at somebody else and they will look at you, you will win because you've shown up in a different way. And people now are watching us because this is TV.
Yeah.
This is not a Zoom call. This is not a Google call. Like it or not, you are on TV and you need to show up for your brand authority and that respect level even to come through now in the way that you want to show up.
So Rich, would you share just a few tips on, presence and no-nos or things they absolutely should do?
Well, number one, always look at the camera. Now I can see Lyndsay in front of me, but I'm really not paying attention to Lyndsay. Okay. I'm looking at the,
me too.
I want to fall in love with the camera. The camera and I are on a date. The camera and I are going out to coffee and we're going to have a good time. And I want to communicate in a way that you're looking at my eyes and we are really physically connected that way. It's called breaking the glass, the old theater stage line. You need to break the glass and be in the room. That would be number one. Stop having it folded down halfway off to the side. I mean, this whole typewriter keyboard thing like this. No, stop. Move and rearrange so your set, and this is your set, is the camera and you are front and center. The next thing, often you're still getting the floating head, where the table's right here and the camera's right here and you're doing this. Both of us are framed up where our midsection is coming through the camera. I tell people put maybe about 3 fingers between you and the top of the camera to give a little headroom. Depending how big the hair is, right? If you're, but, or slide back like you just did, slide back and then get it in there because people want to see the you.
Yeah.
They don't want to see. And again, hand gestures are important. Okay. Come on and play along with me for a second.
Okay.
Put up your arms like this, put them out a little bit. These are called chicken wings.
Yep.
And chicken wings are now you fold them in and then you can talk side to side, left to right, front to back, but you do not want to smack the camera because that's offensive.
Right.
But you do want to be animated with your body gestures. So when you give yourself that pushback, now you can be the full you. If you're presenting, and I work with a lot of public speakers, authors, other CEOs that need to do keynotes in front of audiences live streaming, stand up. When you stand up, your mind will put you back on stage. 100% of everyone I've ever coached who sat down, thought it was boring, when they stood up, they literally interrupt me in the middle of a conversation and say, "What just happened?" And it's like, "What do you mean?" I kind of play dumb. It's really funny to watch them all of a sudden like, "This is boring. This is nothing. Trigger, this is stupid." And I said, "Just stand up." And they rearrange the camera. And all of a sudden, in the middle of them just talking to me, their body comes alive, their hand gestures come alive, their heads start moving. They take a step forward or back, and all of a sudden they'll go, "Why is this different? Why do I feel like this is fun?" Because you're back on stage. No, I'm in my office. I'm in my bedroom. No one's here. No, your body caught up with you. You're on stage. If you're going to present, stand up and go full throttle and present like you're really talking to a live audience. And the best way I do it is I have a minute imagination. Thank goodness for Walt Disney growing up. I believe there's 1,000 people in my room every time I turn on the camera. I just believe there's 1,000 people. So I'm going to present with all the energy and all the passion and play along. And yeah, you may think I'm crazy, but my conversations are more fun than your conversations that way.
It's so true. And I'll tell you, I learned the camera thing. I actually had an Emmy and Murrow award-winning journalist on my podcast, Christina Mendonça, and she said, Lyndsay, I got this new center cam. I'm trying it out. I love gadgets. And so of course I love gadgets too. So I'm like, maybe I'll give it a shot. But I learned that, you're right. Talk to the camera and it always looks like we're making eye contact. But I have so many guests. And sometimes if I'm close enough with them, I'll say, hey, listen, just so you know, you're looking at the floor. So you might want to look at me because it's going to make you look better.
I tell people to put a picture of their family, their daughter on the other side of it. So you have to look at them. When I started off in radio, I did that. I was doing the 2 a.m. late night shift. Nobody cares. But I still had to do, hey, that was John Denver when I was in the country station. But I had to put my family there. So I had a pretend producer. It was me and the janitor. I made up a fake producer that was in the other room like you would see on the big shows. And I would talk to Fred. And it became the illusion, but it helped me be animated to come alive. Yeah. We're now in that same space now in the business world and in the reality. The more we bring a life to animated, the more we bring our personality, the more we show the real us, the better everything will go with your business.
I love it. Okay. So what are some of the biggest mistakes? I mean, we talked about not eye contact. We talk about not looking at the camera if you're a guest. And I think so many people are being interviewed now. So that's great tips. What are some of the other big ones that you see?
Number one, if you have a green screen, do not wear green. No, because your body will disappear and you have a floating head in the middle of the camera. If you have a blue screen, do not wear blue. I love wearing blue. Blue is my brand color. So I have to, you know how many blue shirts I have?
Yeah, me too.
But figure out what works for you. You also need to learn how to talk on camera. This is a big one, especially for leaders, CEOs. You're going to want to fire hose and talk as fast as you can. You're nervous. You're not comfortable with the camera. Right. The whole distance to the microphone is a whole new thing. What you need to do is you need to slow down your mouth and your brain. And I coach this a lot with people to slow it down to a rhythm and a pace that you can communicate. You will have the fire and the passion to keep the excitement into the conversation, but you won't lose yourself and trip and tongue and fall apart. So there is a rhythm to on-camera presence that you have to learn to master. Otherwise, they can't hear you. You're going to whisper. You're going to stumble over your words. Your face will get embarrassed. You'll never want to do it again. Right. So practice off camera, recording yourself, talking to the mic, figure out whether your distance is. Delete it, trash can. No one will ever hear it again. Believe me. But you need to get used to, there's a different pace to doing this because, again, you're on stage.
I think it's like a muscle. I mean, the more you practice, the better you get. And it's certainly been my trajectory. When I first started and I was making posts, I was like, oh my God, I did it. And then, and now I do it every day and I'm totally comfortable doing it. And actually I've gotten better at it. But let's talk about just some of your basic rules for posting, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. I mean, if you're using video, what's your general length that you like to watch or that you like to coach people on for a quick video for somebody like sharing their expertise?
So I'm a little bit crazier than the average dude. Let's just admit that, first of all. You probably figured that out. But I like live. I've always liked the live theater, the live talk shows. I come out of live talk shows. So I like the live format right now. So I use, for example, every day at 2:00, I do a live show. I stream live. It's interactive. I take questions. That's 10 to 15 minutes at the most. Now, for the replay, I can throw that out anywhere I want, but often I'll take a small clip, 30, 60 seconds out of the show, drop it back on LinkedIn or Facebook with the little micro clip with a link to the full replay. So now if you like the shorts, you're going to go, wow, I'm going to gobble that up. Your algorithms, SEO, love a full playthrough on a short. If they want the rest of the show, they'll click and they'll go watch that. Then you get to play through on that.
Okay, I love
Shorts
that.
are really big right now. They are huge. People are using those to pull people in as the classic movie trailer.
Yeah.
This is your teaser to your podcast, to your streaming show. It's worked for years, for decades
It
in
still
movies.
works. I
It
mean,
can work for
everybody
you.
that's doing it right has a hook, and you want to show that hook. And so, like, do you hear that, everybody? 30 seconds to a minute for a micro clip. That's a good rule of thumb. Nobody wants to hear you yawn on and on about your laundry or whatever's going on in your life, unless you are Oprah or somebody really incredible that you have to listen to. Don't go there.
Now, here's a fun thing to do. Here's a fun thing, because again, I do lives and stuff happens live. There's always a gap. There's always something that happens, you know, like you just yawned a minute. Okay. Use those comedy moments as part of your outtakes. People love watching movie outtakes, behind the scenes stuff, right? Today I did a 2:00 live. I put my camera on the other side while I was doing my live here. I videotaped from a different angle.
Yes.
Behind the scenes. I just posted that, but I overlaid it with the real one. So I did a minute replay of the actual way you would have seen it with the same overlay of what was going on behind the scenes. They could see my setup. That behind the scenes stuff works.
I love it. And I agree. The blooper reels are always funny, and some of the best creators out there have some great ones, and they're really, they always crack you up because it shows personality. It shows nobody's perfect. And look, everybody's flawed. And when you show up and you say, hey, I fell down, and let me tell you about how I fell down, but I got back up, people appreciate that. And I certainly tell a lot of self-deprecating stories. So I can relate to that.
That's another thing that I still have the original audio for when I started off in broadcasting. One of the other tips is the voice in your head is not the voice of the room. And that's the hardest thing for most people to get over. It's a huge challenge. It was for me. The first time you play a recording, I had reel to reel. Okay. I had cassettes. And I had to play that back and be like, that's not my voice. That's just, no, it can't be. You learn the room voice, and then you begin to learn how to use your voice. There's a whole different style and presentation of learning how to use this. But I had that original content. People love to hear the before and after. Keep those early podcast shows.
Oh my God.
Pull them out someday and say, by the way, this is episode 300. Here was episode 100, and play a little clip of 100 versus 300 or 100 versus 300.
Yeah.
People will appreciate the transparency and the laugh of what you didn't know, but what you know now.
I remember my first one. I couldn't get enough time. I recorded it. I thought I was going on for like 15 minutes. I'm like, done. 4 minutes? How do I do 4 minutes? That's horrible. But it definitely takes practice and learning. So you get to work with a lot of great leaders. I'd love to hear some of your observations of some of the best leadership practices that you've seen.
You know, leadership has changed.
I agree.
Leadership from when I was a child, watching my father and watching, because he was in the political system. The world has changed. We are much more relaxed. We are much more, the guy on the street, the guy in the Walmart, the lady in Walmart is the lady you're going to meet in the office now. And I think it's great. It was a big pretense for many years. I think people are now wanting the authentic, the connectivity. And so leaders are willing to tell you they're good, bad, and ugly. I have a privilege to be mentored by two great people currently. And it's a much more intimate relationship. They will open up the doors for you.
Sure.
And when you get those relationships, respect them, listen to them, and, you know, don't be afraid to go for the ask. So the one big thing that I've learned through all of this is most leaders are ready for you to ask for them to open the door, make the connection, do something. Most of them are servants or willing people to help you out.
The best ones.
It used to be never asked.
Yeah.
Please don't interrupt the guy and ask. Now they're sitting there going, what can I do for you, kid?
Yeah. Step
into it. Go for it.
I love that. And I agree with you. I think if you don't ask, you'll never know. And I was just talking with a friend the other day who was in a situation where someone didn't get a promotion. And instead of getting mad and instead of responding with, I thought I deserved it or whatever they were going to say that was negative, they said, okay, what do I need to do to get that? Tell me what I was missing, because I want to work on that. And I love that this person understood that they needed to do that. And when we asked, how did you know to do that? She
Yeah.
said, well, all my best coaches in sports said if I wasn't put in, what do I have to do to go play? Let me advocate for myself. What do I have to do to play? And I love that in business, the people that understand that, a lot of athletes understand this.
Yes.
What do I need to do to get there? What do I need to do to get that promotion? And I
Well,
think leaders are getting accustomed to that now.
and I'll tack onto the sports because I spent so much of my sport life as a broadcaster in the locker rooms with
Right.
coaches, watching them practice and coach. Every good leader needs a coach. If you want to be a great leader, you need a coach. You can't get around it.
Did you hear that, everyone?
Everyone needs a coach to take you to the next level. And if you don't have a coach, go get one. Make 2023 the year where you go get a coach. It's a game changer. Believe me, I've had some great coaches to get me where I'm at. I love turning around and giving it back now. But like I said, I currently have 2 mentors that I'm working with very intimately. I still have coaches, everybody.
I think that's brilliant. And I say this all the time, Rich. I think the people that understand that the ones that want to get to the next level or get better at something, or if they know that they are missing something in their life, they can't get through something, they've got obstacles, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So it's such good advice. And the best people understand that.
Well, and you know, like you mentioned during the open, I'm hosting this show, I'm creating the show. That's not happening by accident. When I'm asked to host the National Speakers Association, 2 of their Facebook groups, when I'm asked to create a new show for them and then host it for them behind the stage, that's not happening because I'm sitting on the bench. That's happening because other people are recognizing, talking, and saying, if you want to do this, call Trigger. At the same time, other people are also making phone calls saying, you need to call Trigger. So get out there, make yourself known, but those coaches will open doors for you.
Oh, so true. Okay, Trigger, what inspires you?
Oh, wow. What a great question. You know, this may sound corny, but life inspires me. I have a philosophy I've had since I can remember. Life is a great adventure. I literally wake up every day. Today I did a post on this. In fact, life is a great adventure. I get up each day. Yes, I have my plan, but my plan often gets blown away, changed, whatever. I love not knowing what's really going to happen and stepping into the moment. I love the people I get to interview, the amazing people. I'll do research. I'll find out this and that. But when I'm in the middle of an interview and the story goes left and I'm going on a trail I didn't plan for, that's a great adventure. And that's usually where the juice is. That's where the fun stuff comes out. So I am passionate about living life to the fullest. And again, I love getting up, and every day is going to unfold a little bit differently than what I planned. But at the end of the day, I like being spent. I like being done and saying, job well done.
I love that. And there's something to being mentally tired when you go to bed at night. Like you worked hard, you got out your yayas, and you're ready to rest. It's good. Okay, here's another big one. What would you like your legacy to be?
I like to say that I really was someone that people could trust. I have tried to live a life of integrity. I got that from my father. And so I try to live in that space. I want to be one of those people that you can call up, that you can count on. I have had those 3 a.m. calls where you get up, you get dressed, and you go because your best buddy's calling you.
Yeah.
I like at the end to be known as, you know, I had that ability in my life to be that guy, but I also want to know he had a great time. Really short story. I had a liver failure, and I had to get a transplant. March will be 6 years.
Wow.
I had to plan my own funeral. So the whole idea of what do you want to be remembered was a very real question.
Yeah.
I had to write my own funeral. And the ending song is Carry On Wayward Son. And I have friends that will promise they're going to crank that song to 12 and rock it out, because that's how I lived and that's how I loved. And to have that picture with friends and family that know that's really going to happen someday, that's the way I want to be known.
Ah, that is beautiful. I love that, Rich. I mean, I know I've had a near fatal asthma attack, so I know what it's like to croak and then find out what everybody said about you. But there's some real humbling moments when you are faced with I might not come out of this, and how do I want to intentionally live? And I love that you got to figure that out, because not everybody has, and it shows. So congratulations on figuring it out. It's really powerful. And
that's why I love to do what I love to do. That's why I love to do this.
It's fantastic. So where can people find you?
Easiest way is go to rockthesagemedia.com. If you do go there, on the front page, a little orange pop-up will pop up, and you can get a free download to help you evaluate your brand. How is it coming across? What's it going right for you? Just a self-evaluation tool that I work with my clients, but it's on there for free. So hit the orange little button and grab that on rockthesagemedia.com.
Awesome. And we will put that on here so everybody can go right to it. This has been such a pleasure. I am so glad you came on, and you gave such tremendous tips. I hope people listen and heed your very, very welcome advice. So
really appreciate it. Thank you, Lyndsay.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for another episode of Heartbeat for Hire. Take care. Thanks for listening to Heartbeat for Hire. If you like what you hear, I'd love it if you'd subscribe and leave a 5-star review. To keep the conversation going, you can find me on Insta or at LinkedIn at Lyndsay Dowd, H4H, or you can reach me at my website, heartbeatforhire.com. Thanks so much. Have a great day.